Thank you very much. It's wonderful to have all of you up here on the stage with us. So I'd like to just start off with a little bit of introduction. So maybe we could go down and then each of you can introduce yourself and where you're from and a little bit of what you do. Why don't we start with you?
Hi everyone, it's very nice to be here. My name is Idina. I'm currently working at HANGZHOU, and my main job is to assist and support the open source community. And HANGZHOU, as many people know, is an open source AI platform. And our goal is to make AI more accessible to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Max Yin. So I'm from Hong Kong. From Hong Kong CTU. I'm an assistant professor there. So what I major do is doing the data collection of lots of robotics and human beings. And what we want to do really, that is we want to create more and more data, let's say million hours real human data to train the embodied AI. And we also cover with like big company in US, Google Demand and NVIDIA. So that's what we're doing. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Satya Malik. I'm the CEO of OpenCV.org. OpenCV.org is a nonprofit that maintains the biggest computer vision library in the world called OpenCV, and it's downloaded 1 million times a day. So it's a huge service to the community. That's my short introduction.
I already introduced myself during the presentation, but I want to add that I actually have done a PhD in the 90s on AI before it was trendy. And at the same time, I was also involved in lots of communities, open source communities during my PhD, so in the 90s. So open source is not something new for me.
Thank you very much. So it's wonderful. We've got a couple people from academia and a couple people from the industry as well. And so let me start with the first question. And again, I'll ask each of you to go in turn. But because we're here to talk about future AI, so the first thing I want to ask each of you is, so we've got a 5-year horizon before the current SDGs. We hope to meet the targets. So as we think about the next 5 years, what do you think will be the biggest advancements in AI? What will be the biggest impacts that we're going to see in AI over this 5-year horizon?
Okay, I think AI has been evolving super fast during the past few years. And I think it's very, in my opinion, it's kind of hard to predict what is going to happen in 5 years. But there's one thing for sure, that AI is going to integrate in every corner in our lives, from your phone to your home, a smart home system, to your car, to your workplace, and to the market and industry, etc. And to make that happen, I think we can see from the open source community, there's some very trendy technology, for example, like multimodal, the efficient training, the agentic AI and robotic. All of these technology is super trendy right now, and I think it's going to keep being super popular in the coming years as well, because all this technology is going to make sure that AI can be used actually in our life.
Thank you, Dina. Max?
Yeah, I think so we can think something happening in the, past several 2 or 3 years. Something on the ChatGPT just show up, and our whole community going to the large language model areas. 3 years ago, nobody ever, let's say, the large language model and whatever the models. And suddenly right now, all things changed. And so right now we see a lot of company doing, let's say, large language models and also the agent system, vision company, whatever things. And in Silicon Valley, actually, they can making the revenue for, let's say, $several million couple months, very fast. And what will be the future? In the future AI, we can think about that robotaxi and embodied AI, let's say the robotaxi. And Elon Musk, he actually had a very huge plan that actually a lot of cars will drive by itself. So that would be something like $50 billion, revenue for one single year. So something will be changed totally. So Uber, Waymo, whatever things, the price will totally changing. And let's think about embodied AI. Let's see right now if the car will change into that kind of areas, and the robots will reshape the whole industry totally. So the GDP targeting for industry will totally change. Either in China, US or the other countries, the whole market is changing, whole area is changing, the player is totally changed. So it will be happen 3 to 5 years, and it will be very fast. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Satya.
Thank you. So I might be a little bit biased here, but I think the next AI revolution is going to be a computer vision revolution. Now, if you think about the current state of AI, ChatGPT and other LLMs, they are huge. This is where we are tackling knowledge problems. A person sitting in front of a computer is able to get assistance. So that is the state right now. But the next revolution is when AI interacts with the real world. Think about Tesla full self-driving. It is completely based on computer vision. Think about medical diagnostics. That's where all the modalities are vision-based. Like you can think about X-rays and CT scans, all kinds of different modalities in medical diagnostics. It's vision-based. And think about agriculture, manufacturing, drone technology. All of these things are affected by computer vision. So the next phase of AI is when AI interacts with the real world, and there, the primary sensor is computer vision.
Thank you. And then Serge.
Yeah, it's always difficult to make predictions, but I think it's for us, for my research institute, in fact, we are working a lot on AI agents. So we are very interested by this technology because it's about, the idea is to use this kind of AI agents to give more insight for policymakers. So policymakers nowadays, they have to deal with very complex issues. It might be, in the past, it was the COVID-19 crisis, for example, so how to make some, evaluate different kinds of scenarios in the context of pandemic, how to, for example, also, what we are doing in my lab is about assessing different kinds of scenarios in the context of poverty mitigations. So the idea of using agents is that you can simulate very large-scale population of humans using LLMs. And it was possible in the past, but nowadays with the advent of LLMs, it's much more easier for everyone to build this kind of simulation. And you can test different scenarios, different options, different interventions, but at the same time, you have also to consider the ethical issues because you are dealing with human subjects, so it's also always difficult to deal with that. And we all know that these LLMs, these agent-based, these AI systems, they are biased because it's mostly trained on data coming from the global north. And so in our case, because we are working a lot with developing countries, global south, it might be an issue because we maybe the AI system that we are using are maybe biased, and they are not representing actually the real people on the ground. So it's something. So yes, this is not really the future, but I think this is something for us very important at the UN to consider this kind of system.
Thank you very much, all of you. So we're here talking about the different SDGs. So here I've just put them all up on the screen again, just as a reminder. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals that the UN is trying to achieve over the next 5 years. And when we think about the impact of AI across each of these 17 SDGs, I think it's probably going to be a bit mixed. For some of them, it could be very helpful. For some of these SDGs, maybe we'll have a lot of challenges. For AI, it may not necessarily be helpful at all in terms of how we achieve these, and maybe we have to mitigate the effects of AI in terms of some of these. So I've just sort of organized these. This is my initial categorization. Maybe you agree with my categorization or not. But just at a first glance, which of the SDGs I think maybe AI will be more helpful for helping us achieve them. There may be some SDGs where I think we will have challenges in terms of how do we address AI in achieving these SDGs. So I'd like to just, over the next section, start to ask the different panelists, as we think about these different dimensions as they apply to the SDGs, first off, how do we think, AI may be helpful for helping us achieve them? And then secondly, how do we start to address some of the challenges AI may pose for some of these? So why don't we start off first with where we think AI may be helpful. And by the way, there could be helpful and hurtful for some of these. It could be very mixed. But I want to start off with economics because this is where a lot of the SDGs are focused. So for example, you want no poverty or zero hunger, or how do we have sustainable cities, et cetera. So from an economic standpoint, how do we think that AI may be able to help us achieve these SDGs? So Satya, why don't we start off with you?
Yeah, so this question is very appropriate for me because I grew up in India. And, in India, the main economic opportunities people have is through education. So a person in lower middle class can suddenly go out of poverty, right, if they have good education. So there is a lot of emphasis on education, for example. And we recently started working on a project where we noticed that there is this competition in AI called in India called IIT JEE, which is an entrance exam for people who are wanting to do engineering. And it has become so competitive that it is people who have the resources to train for it, they do very well, and the people who do not have the resources cannot train for it. So that simple exam, we found that now AI can solve most of the problems, right? And we built a tool where you can actually take a screenshot of a problem, and it will solve the problem, not only solve the problem, but also train you, into smaller sub-problems on how to solve the problem, right? So in education, for example, there is a huge opportunity where AI is going to solve these problems. And not only that, think about healthcare in places like India, where in big cities it's good, but when you think about places, remote places, they don't have doctors, right? Even if they have doctors, they may not be of the highest quality. And in medical diagnostics and suggesting good solutions, AI can be a huge impact. So I can go on and on, but in the interest of time, I'll just stick to two: education and healthcare itself. You can see how they can have a huge impact in eliminating poverty and in developing countries.
Thank you. So you raised healthcare, and I think this is one of the things we've heard throughout the day. People are very much excited about the possibilities for AI to help with medical science, with healthcare science, and so on. So let's think a little bit more in terms of what are the impacts that AI might have in this area in terms of helping us achieve good health and well-being. So Adina, this is a question I'd like to ask you.
Yeah. Actually, I'm not an expert of medical or healthcare AI, but I do notice that there's a lot of open source work coming out from the open source community right now. For example, there's a MedGym from Google and released on the Hugging Face. And there's from Chinese community, there's Baichuan, there's Huatuo, the models like that. And I think this kind of model is going to lower the barrier for the innovation, and the researchers from all over the world can work together, and it can accelerate their accelerate the breakthrough they're gonna do in a earlier diagnosis or the medicines development or the disease prediction, something like that. And also there's collaboration, collab organizations like Monet, which is also building models and releasing data sets on Hugging Face, and it's a new way to narrow the gaps between the research and the clinical practice, and to make researchers and engineers more close on this topic. And medical AI also is a very sensitive and important domain. So I think openness and transparency is very important, because it's gonna help to foster the trust in the whole ecosystem and whole environment. So I think the future of the medical and healthcare AI is not only depends on the algorithm, but also can shaped by the whole ecosystem, because by foster the new way of collaborations and the trust from the global scales. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So the next one is education. So I certainly wish when I was a student I had ChatGPT to help me with my studying back then. But fortunately, we have two people from universities on this panel. So I'd like to hear your thoughts in terms of the impact of AI on education. Why don't we start with you, Max?
Yeah, I agree. So I think the education right now is totally changing because previously when I'm doing let's say, doing high school, I'm doing the graduate student, I'm learning a lot. And just repeatedly remember everything. But right now, let's say the ChatGPT and the Grok, they can really doing very fast. And they can doing my homework and doing the whole present design is very fast and way more better than me. And so right now, so I'm actually also a professor at CTU. So lots of them are asking them, so what do you really learn? You what really want to learn from my course? Actually, if you just want to remember the things I teach, it will be, you'll learn nothing. Because the whole area is totally changing. So, your new role is to just try to imagination, just try to making the creative action. So this is something more important. Because 20 years or 5 years, we still just learning very basic language, coding basics. So right now, let's using Coursera and GitHub, a lot of the things. Let's say Hugging Face and OpenCV, a lot of open resources, and everything that's free. And I think within these areas, and Hugging Face is really doing a great job because the Hugging Face have the robot, right? So actually, you guys and share the code, and I think within your community, we have let's say 10,000 people, 10,000 researchers share the community and learn something way more faster compared with we just teaching something on the course. And so something is changing, and the education do improve. And the efficiency is way more better than compared with before. All the free resources just show up, and also I do believe that open source have something. Very very deep impact for the education, especially for OpenCV. Because from high school I'm learning from OpenCV. So that things will bring all the resources freely, totally free to all the levels education people. So right now you see, previously we just have open source, and right now we have the ChatGPT, which is a powerful professor, way more better than me. So open source and powerful professor coming together, which making another level education. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Serge, please.
I'm not teaching with students, so I don't have experience of directly with students, but I'm in touch with lots of students in different universities in Macau and also young people in my team. And I'm always amazed by the way they use this ChatGPT or DeepSeek tools, because I think this is when they have to do something, the first things they do, they use ChatGPT or another kinds of LLMs. So I think this is really, for me, it's sometimes it's a concern, because I think sometimes they should think by themselves, not just use the tool. So I don't know and I know that there is some initial research. I see some papers recently where the people, they make some study on the users of ChatGPT, and there are some kinds of impact on the user if you are using this kind of tool. So maybe psychological impact or addiction sometimes to this kind of tool. So it's something very concerning. And in the context of education, especially in the context of universities, I think this is very important to educate the students about the use. It's not possible to forbid the use of this kind of tools. So they have to use them, actually. So it's very important for them, even if they are not computer scientists, if they don't have any IT background. I think this is very important for them to have some kinds of basic literacy on AI and learn about how it works. It's not a magic one. They have to understand this is based on science, and there are kinds of limitations when you are using this kind of tools. So it's very important for them, and this is what I have done that many times. I try to explain in very simple terms how neural networks are working and how you can use them to do your activities.
Thank you very much. So let's talk about sustainability now. This is a little bit controversial. A lot of people think that AI may help. A lot of people think that AI may hurt from a sustainability standpoint. So let's think about the positive aspect first in terms of some of the ways that AI could potentially be helpful from a sustainability standpoint. So this one, I'd like to ask our two guests more from the industry standpoint to start with. So Adina, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, for sure, AI can help us to optimize the resource utilizations and reduce the waste or to improve the efficiency. That's for sure. But when we talk about these goals, we cannot just set them up over there because we need to find a solution. We need to find a way to actually achieve them. And I think to achieve them is not, we cannot depend only on one power, like single power from one country or one company. We need the resource and power from all of the world, from the whole community. And that's when open source can come in. And as a global challenge, I think open source makes everyone can join in it, to participate in it, and to have the equal rights to build it, to question it, to actually be in it. So also in the open source world, there's also the environment is transparent and trustworthy. So it's going to maintain the current collaborations and also develop a new wave and new collaborations. So at the meantime, open source community, you can also make the AI resource reusable and recyclable, and I think which is a very important key for the sustainability in the future. And so actually for this, we can use 3 words to as a conclusion is reduce, reuse, and recycle. Actually, it's the 3 words from my colleague Sasha, who is expert on this as well. But I think it's very good to respond to your question.
Thank you. Sati, what do you think?
Yeah, I think AI is going to help much, much more than hurt in sustainability. And I'll give you specific examples. Let's consider agriculture. Right now, we use a lot of pesticides when we want, and weedicides, etc., to remove weeds, right? And that's bad for the soil, that's bad for us. But you could actually, there are a lot of companies experimenting with very precise solution where they detect the weed, and with hot oil, they are able to, eliminate that weed, and only that piece. And because it is vegetable oil that they are using, it is not bad for the soil. And there are plenty of examples like this where things are being used to make sustainability. Also think about the forest cover analysis. So a drone which is equipped with a camera can become a flying sensor and do all this analysis by itself, which was almost impossible. And because of in the interest of time, I'll just give those two examples. Next question.
Okay, thanks. So I know that there's a dinner for a lot of people, so I'll cut short some of the questions I was going to ask. I do want to focus just on one negative here that a lot of people have raised throughout the day, though, which is around bias, because I think a lot of people are concerned about, is AI going to be harmful potentially in terms of reinforcing, different biases in society, or how do we think about the data? And so here, maybe I could just ask, just open it up to everyone, and whoever raises your hand first, you can give an answer to how do we start to mitigate some of these concerns about bias in AI?
More diversity in the teams who develop this kind of system. I think this is very important to think about that. So if you have a team that is only composed of men, for sure you might see some bias at the end. So it's very important to think about that from the beginning. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
One thing I'd like to add is that we feel that if you uniformly sample existing data, it would be unbiased, but that is not true. So there are holes in the data set. For example, there's this famous example of Google Photos misclassifying Black people as gorillas and things like that. So that was because the data had holes, right? And if you do not proactively think, even though they did the right thing about sampling the data in the right way, etc., but we have to acknowledge that the data itself is biased to begin with, and then you start mitigating the problem, right? So because we live in a society which is biased, the data we produce is also biased. So that's the starting point.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Sir, go ahead, please.
Actually, to reduce the bias, I think the most efficient way is to find the source. The source is data set. So as Serge mentioned, so it's better to use the diverse data set. But as we talk, like the whole talk we mentioned about the open data set is very hard to get, is very expensive. But so we can do it through open source. So openness will how to say bring the different backgrounds, people from different backgrounds, from different language and cultures, and bring them all together to work on it. Actually, when you openly share a data set, it doesn't mean like you're freely contributed to the community. It also means you have all the intelligence from all over the world to help you improve it, to make it better, to correct it. So I think it's a good way to get a diverse data set with a minimum cost, and to help to reduce the bias. And also there's ways like evaluations. Like in our platform, we have for example, we have the bias amplified split in the Hugging Face dataset, so you can test if a model is going to amplify the bias or not. And also there's tools from the community although there are tools from the community like you can help to reduce the bias. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So I'd like to focus on the last two SDGs, from the UN, which are more focused on how do we work together with institutions and partnerships. And I think that's a nice way just to wrap up this. We're all here at this nice event, people from all over the world here. So what are some things that we need to do as a group? What are some new institutions that we need? What are some ways that we need to work together to ensure that we can try to meet these goals around the SDGs and AI? And I'll open up this to anybody who may want to answer.
Yeah, give it a shot. Yeah, I think that we really need a very huge community, the open source community. And so where we can share the data, we can share the open source code, and also we can have a very powerful shared computation powers. So, and all the researchers around the world can, share the information very instantly. And also, very quickly doing the collaboration. So right now, all these kind of things is isolated, totally isolated. And different companies, different organizations have their own models or data. So right now, there's no bridge. So if there do exist some kind of very huge, nice organization, yeah, I think, yeah, Hugging Face, OpenCV doing really good job, really great job. And if we can make that thing even more bigger, way more openly, I think have some open communities. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other thoughts?
I have similar thoughts. Open source is the way to go, right? And we should encourage companies even, to go open source, because that's how the entire humanity can contribute, and that's how we can move forward. Closed source, it has, only a few people would be working on it, and it doesn't improve humanity. If you want to focus on how humanity can move forward, it needs access to the source code. It needs access to the models for it to move forward.
Thank you very much. So I think we're about out of time for today, but I hope this was a very good session for you guys as we think about what are some of the possibilities that AI may bring to us over the next few years. And I certainly also believe that open source is perhaps the very best way for us to come together and to build this future together. So we hope to work with many of you in the open source community. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.